Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay. And later in the show, we're going to hear from Kevin with J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling. So Gregg Bowman in the house. Talk about that Freon. It's one of those things that are slowly being phased out. So the Freon's finally almost gone, huh?
Correct. Yeah, we're just about to that deadline of December 31st of this year is the last date for manufacture, production, or importation of R-22 FREON, which is basically the original refrigerant that was used in air conditioning up until about 2010. Most air conditioners produced since 2010 use what we typically in the trade call Puron, a different refrigerant. That's not being phased out, but it's the Freon refrigerant that is going out the window. Now there was a little hiccup in the program. The original intent was to phase it out in 2010, force manufacturers to produce all new equipment using the Puron, but the manufacturers found a little loophole in the system and were able to actually keep producing systems till 2015 that used the Freon. So there are some systems out there that are basically 5 years old that the refrigerant is soon going to be not available for. Now, I shouldn't say not available for. It's available, but at a price. Like anything, it's a supply and demand thing. The refrigerant moving forward from the end of this year will only be reclaimed refrigerant from old units that are taken out and the refrigerant's been recovered, recycled, and reclaimed from. That sounds like if it's recycled, it would be a good thing, which it is, but because it's a lack of supply thing, there's going to be a significant price attached to that. So it's just something to keep in mind if you have an older air conditioner that is older than 10 years old. Now, there were Puron units out before 2010, so just because your unit's older doesn't mean it uses Freon, but it's something to be aware of that is going to add some costs. So good time to start budgeting if you have an older unit.
That's what I was going to ask you. The question comes to mind, like, so if you have one of those units, do you have to retrofit this to some newer type of chemical, or is it?
A couple of options. Yes, it can be retrofitted to a new non-ozone depleting refrigerant. That typically does require some significant cost in retrofitting your existing system, and it usually reduces the capacity of the system too. So sometimes creates a cooling issue where the old system may have been able to cool the house, and if you retrofit it, it may struggle depending on the situation. So really requires kind of an expert eye on it to see if that's an option or not, but it is a possible option. It is an expensive option though, so that's why if the unit is older, it's time to kind of probably budget for replacing. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that the government's trying to protect our environment, but it is going to increase consumer spending on air conditioning.
Yeah, it makes sense when you look at that. And so the R-22, that's the Freon. I wanted to ask you a question. I went into a listing appointment the other day, and it had one of these in the ceiling. It was an older house, older property, and it was a non-used system, but the owner was explaining to me how it worked back in the day, I guess, when they kind of first came about with some of these AC units, or I don't even know if it was an actual AC unit, but it was more of a, the flaps that kind of pull up, and they said, you turn this thing on, and it would just suck all the hot air out of the house. You open the windows up. What was that?
That's a whole home ventilator. It would basically, when you turn that on, it would suck air from the house and ventilate it into the attic, and you would have to have a window or a door somewhere open down in the house, and it would suck air in from outside.
Wow.
It worked overnight, when the temperatures were cooler, and particularly when it wasn't real humid outside, like in the middle of August when we're dealing with 90% humidity outside, not a great option. But in the middle of the night, especially in like December, January, you know what it's like here. It's beautiful. You can cool a house in minutes with one of those. You just throw the switch and it ventilates everything out. A little noisy, that thing running, sucking air up through the whole house. You don't want to stand with a small dog underneath the thing there. Might be a problem. But you don't see them too often anymore. We've actually taken them out quite a few times where they were in the way of new air conditioning projects that were going on, so we've taken them out. But they were a thing back in the day.
Interesting. We're talking with Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay, longtime friend of the program, and the AC guy of Tampa Bay. What's the website again, Greg?
It's acguyoftampa.com. So www.acguyoftampa.com. So there's no the in the website.
AC guy of Tampa.com. Got it. And when you think about the Freon, you think back to the AC back in the day. We've talked about this on the show, kind of the history of AC. We've come in and we're going into a hard break here, but when we come back, more from our expert contributors. We'll talk about that, and also Kevin coming up here with J-Dog removing and hauling here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. But I want to go back to Greg. We started this story, and the break kind of crept up on me there. But when you look at how did this Freon like what really was invented to start this whole revolution of the AC or Carrier you mentioned?
That was the original refrigerant used by Carrier in his mechanical refrigeration process. He was kind of the first one, Willis Carrier, to create an air conditioner like we know it today. There were projects and experiments and actually some working models of air conditioning prior to that, but he's the kind of father of modern air conditioning. The air conditioner we use today was really Willis Carrier, but it used the R-22 refrigerant. Some of it used R-12 as well, but R-22 has been the primary refrigerant that's been used for forever.
So all that time we've been using the and what caused us to get rid of it is the ozone.
Correct. It's an ozone depleting refrigerant that scientists have identified that it harms the ozone layer. It's very highly responsible for depleting the ozone layer. So that's why it's being phased out. The Puron refrigerant, the refrigerant that we have in use today, still has global warming potential, but it's non-ozone depleting. So it doesn't deplete the ozone layer, but it still contributes to global warming. So that's actually in plans to be phased out as well.
Wow.
But we've got some time before that one comes up. So.
All right. So it's not as bad, but still kind of bad, somewhat bad.
Yeah, better, but not as good. I mean, not as bad, but yeah, it's better.
AC guy of Tampa.com, AC guy of Tampa.com. Now let's talk about your package as well. You've got the maintenance package that we signed up with you on. Let's talk about that and maybe make an offer to our listeners too.
Yeah, we have our VIP program, which is a comprehensive maintenance program. Basically, we come out for $14 a month and take care of your complete air conditioning system maintenance. Twice a year, we're out there going through your system, making sure everything's operating the way it should, cleaning it, and then you get some other benefits as well. If we'd have to come out for an after-hours call, there's no overtime fees, and you get discounted rates, as well as priority service. If it breaks down and we're in a busy season, you come to the front of the line and getting service.
Very cool. All right, reach out to the hotline if you'd like to get in connection with Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay. 813-670-7372. Text AC to 813-670-7372, and we'll put you in touch with Greg and his team, AC guy of Tampa.com. All right, let's bring Kevin.
Your enlightening round.
All right, here we go. Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage.
If you are going to get a divorce, keep a cool head and make sure you call us before you actually go through it. Once you made that decision, stay calm, and make sure it's done right. But you can reach me at dianevance.com, or our fairwaytampa.com is our branch website.
Awesome. Good stuff. Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay.
With the impending phase out of Freon, we have actually been thinking about what can we do to help our clients out, our customers out. So we've actually done some negotiating with our manufacturers, and we're about to launch. You're hearing it here first before we actually do it, but we're going to be launching what we're calling our deal to die for. It's the best pricing we've ever had on replacement units. So if you're in that situation where you do have an older unit that's Freon based and in need of getting it, we're offering up to $2,500 in rebates are available, up to $1,000 in a Visa gift cards available, and we're also including our high-end iWave UV air purifier at absolutely no cost with most system installs. So
awesome.
That's launching in conjunction with Halloween coming up, but it's a great opportunity. We're also doing a discounted maintenance program to kind of introduce you to us and what we do in our VIP for those who don't know it and don't know what we're providing and you're skeptical of that. We're doing our air defense plan. Our air defense plan is normally $189. It's a very comprehensive, basically taking the engine out of a car and rebuilding it.
Wow.
is what we're doing to your air conditioner, but we're offering that for $59 right now as an opportunity to new customers to see what we can do. So
very cool.
Some opportunities to let us help you out.
Awesome. Check him out online, acguyoftampa.com. Kevin Hasney, J-Dog, Junk Removal and Hauling.
Awesome.
Top tips.
So as we all know, the holidays are coming, right? The big three: Halloween, Thanksgiving, and then obviously the Christmas, New Year's conjunction.
Yep.
So when you think that, you obviously think two things. One is decorations. And obviously, there's family coming into town, so you might need to get new furniture and get rid of furniture, etc. So I have two great tips. First one is when it comes to the decorations, be sure that you're not just throwing away, the old Christmas lights and any of those things that may have electronics inside of them, because technically they're not supposed to go in your household garbage trash. Mm-hmm. So you want to dispose of those correctly, and J-Dog is one of those companies that will make sure that we recycle those. We go through e-waste programs, even donate to some of the Habitat for Humanity, etc. The other thing is with the furniture, make sure you're not just tossing that stuff as well. Have a company like mine come in and get rid of it, and we'll break it down and recycle it properly so it doesn't just end up at a landfill.
Yeah, I love it. That's good stuff, man. Got to keep those landfills. They're starting to get to those critical mass points, and there's a lot of recycling going on, and that's a great service for the community. Awesome. Good stuff, man. All right, so as you know, I quote a lot about Tony Robbins. I talk about his business mastery course I've been to. We've had his son Jarek Robbins on the show several times, but today I wanted to talk about what he calls the 3 pillars of progress. Okay, so for you small business owners out there, salesmen and women, think about this from a perspective, and also think about it from this perspective too. A lot of times we're coming up on those New Year's resolutions, and we get very optimistic with our goals, right? So I think as human beings, we overestimate what we can do in 1 year, but we significantly underestimate what we can do in 5 years, right? So we want to be patient when we think about this. But number one is create a clear and compelling vision for the results you desire and discover a path where you want to be. Okay, so think about where you want to be, create that vision, write it down, and hold it close to your vest. Tell your accountability partner about it, your husband, wife, whatever is going to help you be accountable. Number 2, get the best strategies, tools, and mentoring to help you close the gap from where you want to be and from where you are. And then number 3, get into action. It's all about taking action. Understand your personal blueprint. Unlock you is what is blocking you. A lot of times you have these blocks that are happening, but unlock that. And those are your 3 pillars to progress, right? So number 1, create a clear and compelling vision. Number 2, get the best strategies and tools, and then get into action. Take action. Number 1, or the final best is best. Just take action. Focus on Pareto principle. What can you do to move that needle towards success? And a lot of times you can't really just jump into success. You got to fail first, right? So don't be afraid of failure. Jump into that. All right, let's do another round here. Some more tips, nuggets of advice. You got Diane Vance, local lender. Again, I always say support the local economy. All these companies here, most of our companies, all of our companies that are associated with the show are local area expert contributors. So you're supporting the local economy. Stay away from those online mortgage lenders. Stay away from those guys. They're in a garage in California somewhere, for all you know.
Yeah, they could be working out of their bedroom.
Yeah,
they really could.
Yeah.
And so we're a national company. However, the reason our name is Independent in between Fairway Independent Mortgage is because they want us to. We know our market.
Yes.
So locally, we can actually, grow the market based on what's needed in the community.
Makes sense, yeah.
So that's the reason. But yeah, you have to be very careful about when it is too good to be true. And I've had some people, and I'm like, okay, they're working out of their bedrooms, and they may change your rate on you by the time you actually get there. And
well, that's the old trick in the book, right?
It is.
It's the bait and switch. Oh, we're going to paint the picture with this, and then they'll give them a call like 1 or 2 days before closing and say, okay, well, I actually couldn't get you that. I'm so sorry. I just got news from our underwriter.
Well, I love the call I got the other day from a customer that actually was my old customer, and he happened to call one of the national customers. He sends me, he said, my goodness, they told me that this interest rate was really low, and it was really low. But then when I got the estimate, it was 2.5 points. He's like, I don't want to do that.
Right, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't.
So paying point. Real quick, what's points? What's a point
Points.
mean?
1 point is 1% of whatever your loan amount is. So paying 1 point, it takes 5 years to recoup it. So you're going to pay that much more at closing.
And that's an upfront cost.
That is an upfront cost.
That's an out-of-pocket expense.
Out of pocket, or it can be rolled into loan, but it's still going to increase your loan.
Yeah, absolutely. So reach out to Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, DianeVance.com. All right, Greg, give us another tip. Any nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom?
Just echoing off the bait and switch or being cautious. We see that a lot in the air conditioning industry as well. Be cautious of deals that seem too good to be true. We run into a lot of, like, along the lines of the maintenance thing. There are companies out there offering a maintenance for $19.95 or $29 maintenance. That type of a maintenance is basically come out, take the screws off, look at it, and I'm done.
They're
type
not
of
maintaining
a thing.
much.
They're not. A good maintenance should take at least an hour. If you're being serious about it. I've had guys taking 3 or 4 hours already to do a thorough maintenance, but a good maintenance takes a little bit of time. You want to make sure that you're doing something good for your air conditioner, not just getting a rag and wiping it off.
Yeah, exactly. Give a true, there's so much of that type of misleading, aka false advertising in a lot of different industries, and you see companies doing it, even in the real estate industry. You see people talking about 0%, listing fees, no listing fees. We're going to pay all your clothes. You got to be careful. You got to be diligent, and just be careful when you're out there shopping, for whatever you're shopping for. And that's, again, why we set this show up. We've got the best expert contributors, 80 plus categories, whatever you need. We want to be your super connector. We would love to hear from you. Give us a call on our hotline, 813-670-7372, or check out consumerqb.com, and we'll put you in touch with all of the best expert contributors, folks that are local lenders or local area business owners here that can help you with whatever you're looking for. I want to thank Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Gregg Bowman, the AC guy of Tampa Bay, and Kevin Hasney, J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling, for coming in. Thanks so much for your expert contributor advice here on the show. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Pack up some food or clothing, carry it with you to and from your commute, and be a force for good in the community. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.